Hi, this is Doug Jones. You might know me from Star Trek Discovery or The Shape of Water. Right now, you're listening to Brigade-Radio-One.
You're listening to Brigade-Radio-One.
Hey everyone, it's Ethan with Combat Radio and Brigade-Radio-One. We are off campus. We have left our secret bunker at NBC Universal. Why? Because we're about to hit you in the face with something awesome. We are backstage at the Saban Theater with the one, the only, the legend, Steven Van Zandt. Steven, how are you?
I'm great, baby. I'm great.
Good to see you. Real quick, my co-host today is director Michael Lange from Criminal Minds and Bones. He's going to sit in, and producer Loda Hadley's with us as well. That rumble will start momentarily.
I guess I don't have to talk.
No, you don't. So,
oh, boy.
So let's just get to the point. Hey, real quick, so I come through the lobby, and it's packed with these heroes, teachers. Is this something associated with you? Are you doing something for the teachers tonight?
Oh, yeah. We do every show.
First of all, let me interrupt and say that's amazing. Okay, go.
Well, let me just go back a minute here, a little background. We spent the last 12 years creating a music history curriculum because of the No Child Left Behind legislation devastated all the arts classes. Right. They took them all out in their wisdom. Okay. So we decided we got to keep the arts in the DNA of the education system somehow. Right. So we designed a music history curriculum that works cross-curricular, music class, history class, English class, social studies. It's designed to be flexible enough for kindergarten through college. Okay, we have all the music licensed, all the videos are licensed. It's all free. Okay, and then we just went public with it at the end of the Soulfire tour last year, and we decided let's do a direct teacher outreach. Okay, now that we have the content, we have 150 lessons online, by the way, which is about 1,000 hours of research. Okay, let's get to the teachers now. Okay, we're talking to school boards and administrations, but I want to go directly to the people on the front lines. In your combat, symbolism.
But you're speaking my language because my mom was a teacher.
Okay, so we're finding everybody has a teacher in their family, just so happens. Anyway, so we decided, okay, let's put aside 400 or 500 tickets every single show. Invite teachers to come to the show for free. Okay, bring a friend, and then we do a workshop in between the sound check and the show, which is going on right now. I'm going to go visit there in a minute. You should come in maybe when I go in. Yeah. Check it out. And I just say hello briefly, but the workshop is terrific. The teachers love that. And they need to do that. I didn't know this, but they need to do about 20 hours or so of that every year, depending on the state laws, in order to qualify for their teaching certificate every year. And they have to pay for it out of their meager salaries, right? What? Yeah. So we give it to them for free. We let them, and that counts towards their certificate, and we basically are now kind of focused on 3 areas real quick. I don't want to bore you, but the first area is keeping the arts in the DNA of education because that's incredibly important. Number 2, we found that we discovered a new methodology to deal with this generation because they were teaching them the same way they were teaching us. Learn this now and someday you'll use it. Well, that's not going to work for these kids. These kids are smarter than us, they're faster than us, and they got no patience, okay? Right. None. They're used to getting every answer they want in 30 seconds on their device, right? So we said, okay, what do we do with this? Well, let's use music. They're all into music. So we go to them. Who's your favorite artist, right? And whoever they name, let's say Beyonce, okay, let's trace her back. Where'd she come from? Well, Beyonce comes from that one and this one and Aretha Franklin, right? And by the way, Aretha Franklin comes from Detroit. Let's talk about Detroit. She comes from the gospel church. Let's talk about the gospel church. She was involved with civil rights. Let's talk about civil rights. And the kids are totally interested and engaged because it's an area they're comfortable with. You know what I mean? It's a world that they understand. They understand music. So we're using music to basically engage them and keep them in school. And that's the third thing. We want to start affecting the dropout rate. Okay? We have, it's a scandal. I mean, the amount of kids dropping out from the poor neighborhoods is close to 50%. Okay? 50%. And half of them end up in prison. Okay? So if we can keep them in school, we're giving the kids a chance. And at this point in our lives, I mean, how do we call ourselves civilized with statistics like that, you know. So we need to focus on that. So that's what we do. We three things basically: keeping the arts in schools, you know, because for the quality of life, the methodology for the new generation, and hopefully keeping kids in class. If a kid likes one class or one teacher, they'll come to school, and we want to be that class. You know, simple as that.
Is it too early in the conversation to say I love you?
Wait, I say I love you.
Because that's really
That's
impressive.
unbelievable.
That you're doing. And I want to know like how our resources, maybe where we're based at NBC Universal, can help you and help your program, or what we can do as a radio station and help
spread the
advance
word.
it.
You know, I mean, we're doing this every show.
What's
Okay.
the name of the group that you?
Well,
that does it?
all you do, I mean, we register at teachrock.org.
TeachRock.org.
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, you know, if a teacher wants to come to the show, we give her a shortcut by saying register with Christine at teachrock.org. Simple as that. No, everything's free. The curriculum is free forever. The workshop's free, and the show is free, and they can bring a friend.
Brilliant.
That is so amazing, Steven.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You gotta try and give back a little bit. You know, you gotta try and do something, right?
Speaking of giving back, actually.
Wait, can I just interrupt
No.
with one thing? Okay, go ahead.
No.
Seriously. So my son sings. He's in the choirs. And so I would go to the choir concerts, and everyone in the audience was like in rapture. You know, everyone loves music.
Yeah.
And you could feel it, the love, the togetherness. Music brings everything together. And I would say to their teachers, we don't learn from history anyway. So how about less history, more music? I think it would be a better world.
Well,
and it seems like you found a way to combine it,
Yep.
which is genius.
Yep.
I was a volunteer at my daughter's school when they cut both music and sports, and it was just like
horrible.
devastating. And
There
I
you
had
go.
to
There you
actually we bought the sporting equipment, you know, for this elementary school. Like we went out and did that, and we actually paid for the field trips too. And we were like, gone are the days when you used to have like a well-rounded.
This is not unusual.
Yeah, it's sad.
I hear this all the time. You know, it's terrible.
Well-
and then you hear teachers buying supplies for their classroom, right?
Yeah.
How many times have we heard this?
Yeah,
right?
I have to buy the pencils.
They're
and I have
making
to buy the paper.
They're making $40,000 a year. They're
Right.
making $45,000. I mean, you know, I don't know how they even live on their salaries.
Right.
Never mind buy supplies for the kids. You know, so you know, all of this has got to change. I mean, we're you know, all due respect with our whatever the number is, $700 billion for the military. You know, they're going to miss a couple of billion that we could use for the teachers over here. You know
Well, I
what I'm
love
saying?
that.
You know?
Remember that bumper sticker where it would be a glorious day when the military has to have a bake sale to get its next stealth bomber or whatever it was. But we have the same discussion every day. It seems like where can you cut? Can we cut just enough to get these teachers and treat them like the heroes they are, salary wise, if not with supplies? Yeah. I love that you're doing it. I'm going to actually do a little profile work on it and see if I can't somehow garnish some support or raise the awareness of it, because we were sitting around with all these people and they're all teachers, and I'm like, I love this. What a hip crowd we're hanging with. You know? They're like, oh, and get this, and he does this thing, and
doing a workshop right now. Yeah,
it's wonderful, man. It's wonderful. And my mom being a teacher, it's just very close to my heart. Hey, fun fact though about you and me: both our families come from the same place, Calabria. Which, depending on who you talk to, can be a bad thing. But between you and me, we know it to be a good thing, right? Now, listen, you're sort of a historic figure. I mean, you're a hero of mine for a reason I'll get into towards the end of this discussion. But, you know, obviously, your work as a musician, your work as an actor. I wish we could just talk Lillehammer for 30 minutes. Because
I'm very proud of that.
And you should be, because we loved it. It was religion around our house. But what's it like? What's it like being you, Steven? Like, do you get up and make your own coffee and be like, yeah, I was in one of the hottest TV shows of all time, The Sopranos, and I'm also in one of the hottest bands of all time. Like, it's tough to be me. Like, how is it? Like, how do you walk down this? Do you get your own groceries? What's a day for you?
You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving.
Yeah?
You can't be looking back. That's the key.
Yeah.
Look ahead. You know, and believe it or not, everything that you just named has been a struggle, okay? It wasn't like some gift.
Right.
Hey, here it is. You're the biggest band in the world.
Right, exactly.
How about it took us 15 years to become the biggest band in the world? I mean, you know, we had the longest gestation period, you know, in history. I mean, you know, it took us forever to break through. Sopranos was, you know, strange when we did the pilot. It was not, you know, an obvious hit. It was a very weird show. I mean, ducks fly into a guy's pool,
Right.
and they leave, and he has a nervous breakdown and goes to a psychiatrist. This is the makings of a hit show. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. Okay,
Not
You know,
necessarily.
not necessarily. All right. And then Lillehammer was almost impossible to do. I mean, you know, Norwegian crew, American star, German distributor, English owner, Netflix in LA. You know, it was incredible. We did 3 seasons. You know, so I mean, everything we do is a struggle. Okay, you know, so you know, I don't say, oh, you know, what a glorious life I'm having. I'm like, I'm fighting it out every single day. Sure, even right now. You know.
Doesn't it occur to you, like, though, do you walk into like your local coffee shop and order coffee and be like, I might write a song today. I may just watch myself on Netflix. I don't know what I'm going to do. Did you ever direct any? Did you direct any of The Sopranos?
No.
Oh,
I know,
that would've been
but I know David Jacobs from Northern Exposure.
David Chase.
Yeah.
Chase, I mean.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Northern Exposure, and he had several. This was the end of his TV road. He thought,
Right.
You know,
That's what he thought.
He had done it his whole life and was, you know, really, you know, ready to move on to movies.
Yeah.
And then he reinvents TV to replace the movies.
Right.
Okay, it was what he did. Okay, I mean, all the adult entertainment's on TV now. You know,
right.
You know, there's 20 movies being made for the Academy Awards. The rest is all comic books and video games. You
I
know.
know.
So I mean, he completely changed TV, and then he leaves and goes and starts making movies. You know, it's ironic.
Well, we were at Warner Brothers. Loda and I were at Warner Brothers Feature Development together when that show launched, and we were like, you know, this show, what sold it for me was the cast was so good on that show and so real, believable, and real looking.
That was the thing. The whole thing looked so real
Yep.
because there was no baggage. That's the nice thing about no stars.
Yeah.
And people forget this, but that's the same thing happened with The Godfather. You know,
That's right.
Brando was the only star, and he was unrecognizable.
And
okay?
he had to, Scorsese had to fight to get Brando in. They didn't want Brando. from what I heard.
Coppola.
I mean, Coppola.
Right, yeah, he did. He had
Yeah.
to like fly to Gulf and Western in New
Right.
York.
No,
and do
they had to
screen
fight with
tests.
everybody, but
Right.
but that entire cast was all unknowns. That's why it looked so real.
Right.
Same thing with The Sopranos, and the cinematography. Same thing, almost cinema verite practically. I
Yeah.
mean, no seductive lighting. I mean, no camera moves whatsoever. You look back at that pilot, the camera doesn't move.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing that those of us who understand film language. There was no compromise whatsoever. Chase was like, I'm done compromising. I've been compromising my whole life. I'm done. And somehow it worked. And after you watch Sopranos, you switch the channel, okay, everything else looked phony. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everything compared to that looked like Hollywood phony because everything's so lit, you know. And this thing was like not lit.
Did you come home from your first day on that? Incidentally, you know who was supposed to direct The Godfather originally? Sam Peckinpah.
Yeah.
That was who they wanted, which would have been a
Interesting.
completely different movie. First of all, it would have been incoherent in the third act, but you would have seen a lot of slow motion killing.
That's right.
When you got home on like the first day on like The Sopranos, you go, were you like, I don't know what I just did today? Or were you sitting back going, I think I was pretty close to the center of the universe on this. This is going to be something special. Did you have any idea?
In the beginning?
Yeah, on the first day when you're sitting around and you're working, you think,
No, I mean, we liked it, but it was weird. It was eccentric. We knew it was eccentric because it was very eccentric. Too many characters, too many subplots, weird plots.
Right.
what was your favorite subplot in the show? Looking back
my
at it. What did
God.
you personally like the
I
best?
don't know. I never think about these things. I don't know. There were so many good ones. I don't know.
Have you seen that there's a theory online that your character in Lillehammer is related to your character? And there's like a YouTube thing
Same
trying
guy?
to connect you. Yeah.
Came out of a coma and went to Norway. Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah.
But I love the Lillehammer show. I thought the premise was great. I mean, it didn't look like it was a fun place to go shoot. Like I would have centered that maybe in the Bahamas or Hawaii. But you know what? It worked for you.
Next show, I'm
Next
definitely
show?
keeping that in mind.
Keep it in mind.
But I
Yeah,
did
check
it.
with Ethan.
I did it intentionally. I wanted to make Norway a character in the show because I realized no one knows a thing about Norway. People think it's a city in Sweden. Okay, you can't name one celebrity. You can't name one product. You know what I mean? It's just one of those weird places, right? Which turns out to be the most wealthy country in the world, which nobody knows. I mean, wealthier than Saudi Arabia. Okay, you know. They discovered oil in '72, and they don't spend the money. They're like this very weird species of people that's fascinating, you know. You go to they don't see nobody's got a nice suit on. There's no nice cars. You go to the richest guy's house, nothing on the walls, right? They were farmers until '72, and they're still farmers in their head, you know, and they just happen to be the wealthiest country in the world.
Now, a good friend of mine who starred in the 13th Warrior, Dennis Storhoy, is a big stage actor in Norway, loves it, treated like royalty for his art, was part of like the royal guard for the king. There's a royal family there. Talks about it like you wouldn't believe. And when I heard Lillehammer, I thought, well, that's actually the first clash on ground between the Allies and the Germans in World War II, you know, and then later the heavy water thing. So I initially thought, well, maybe this is like a History Channel thing. And then I watched it, and it's you like going through the eyes, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. What's going on with you? You know, and I was like, this is going to be awesome television.
It was a great premise by the husband and wife who created it, you know, just drop in this one-man crime wave in a place where there's no crime. Mm-hmm. I mean, crime's a recent thing, you know. When I got to Scandinavia in the early '80s, they had no penal system. There was no penal system. Okay, journalists would tell me, you know, my kid got beat up by a bunch of Turkish immigrants. They bring him down to the police station. They give him a good talking to, and let him go. I mean, there was no judges. Wow. There was no jails. I'm telling you, there was no crime until recently. Now, because of the immigration thing, it's, you know, a whole other subject. But for many, many years, there was no, I mean, left the doors open, very much a monoculture. We're not used to monocultures, you know. Right. I mean, they all go skiing on the weekend. They all got a cabin in the woods 2 hours away. And I mean, it's a monoculture. They make the rules and they keep them. The red light, they're not crossing against that red light. And you can see for 10 miles either direction, there's nothing coming, they're not walking across that street, you know. So it was the perfect place to drop a New York wise guy, and then you know, start a little crime wave
for a guy who makes a character who makes like his own rules as he goes in a world where
that's it. In New York, you know, we don't know for rules. Exactly. Rules are it's an outline for how we're going to get around things. You know, that's all. That's all a rule is.
You know what's great though is, and I hope that through some miracle that show comes back. But in the meantime, they can reboot it by sending you to say, you know, Perth, Australia, Southeast Asia. It works almost anywhere with that character you created.
That's true. I could do that show anywhere, and I thought it was going to start a trend because it was fascinating. It was just accidental, but obviously I'm not going to learn Norwegian, so we decided the premise is he understands Norwegian but doesn't speak it, and now, as we know, America hates subtitles. Okay, but we got away with it because the one guy speaking English was enough. It was enough. Everybody who watched it told me they were living through this guy's eyes in Norway, so it was natural that they were speaking Norwegian. That made sense. And because he didn't, it was enough to keep them, you know, intrigued, you know. And they said the subtitles just disappeared after a while. So I thought, we're onto something here. You could do that in any country, with any show. Have the premise be, he doesn't speak the local language, but he understands it, and they understand him. You know, you could sell that, you know, and that puts you with an English-speaking star in any country, which gives you an American audience. It was a big deal.
There you have it. All right, I want you to get to work on that, Michael. When we get back to the office, I want you to put that. That's going to be television show 364 or 265 for you.
All right, I'm on it.
Quick question for you, Steven. All right, the phone rings and it can be either Marvin Gaye, Mick Jagger, or Paul McCartney, and they need you for an album. They need to collaborate with a genius. Who are you hoping of the three that it is?
Well, that's a tough question, Ethan.
It's a little easier since Marvin's died.
But that's what makes it interesting. Right? What kind of album is that going to be?
It's a little. I'm down to just Paul and Mick. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. You know, I don't like working with my heroes. You know.
No.
I tried never to meet my heroes, and then, ironically, I do Sun City with 50 heroes. I got to produce 50 of my favorite people. You know, that was a scary moment because I've always been afraid of, you meet a hero and they're a jerk, and then it's going to affect the way you listen to their art. It's going to affect how you perceive their art. And and I know from experience, the art is always better than the artist. Always. Okay? That's why people get confused sometimes, well, he's such a jerk, should I listen to his records anymore, or his paintings, or his movies? It's two separate things. Yeah, the art always better than the artist, always. Sometimes radically so, sometimes so, but it's always better, So I don't, I'm not crazy about meeting people who are heroes. It just so happens Paul McCartney, came on stage with us with Bruce and the E Street Band, which was amazing. He then invited me and Bruce to come on stage with him at Madison Square Garden, which was amazing. And then 2 tours ago in London, he came on my stage, okay, with Disciples of Soul, which is an endorsement of me and my work. So that's the highlight of my life. I mean, the guy whose reason I'm in this business, 50, whatever it is, 60 years later, I don't know.
Right.
Gets on my stage and endorses me, okay? Biggest moment of my life, probably.
What song
Certainly
did you
one
guys
of them.
do?
We did, I knew he was coming, and so I said, let me get something ready just in case. So I did a Little Richard arrangement of I Saw Her Standing There, with the horns. I got the horns. And so without any rehearsal, he just shows up at the encore, comes on stage and trusted me, and we did, without any rehearsal, we did I Saw Her Standing There, Little Richard style. It's on the Blu-ray of our live show. Yeah. It's the most amazing moment of my life. It's like God walking on stage and saying, "Okay, you've done a good job your whole life. Here's your reward." Nice.
That's a beautiful story, and I know we're pressed for time, so I'll wrap it up quickly. But I remember Peter Noon said he was with the Beatles. Your story is so much better than his, because I guess John Lennon played him something, and he goes, "I'm not really feeling it, John." And John started beating him up, like in the hallway.
Wow.
And so it was a little bit of a different. Obviously, you got a different sort of. You had a post-Beatle experience that Peter did, where he's like, John Lennon started kicking the shit out of me, just because I didn't like this. Anyway, I got to say this thing about your heroes versus the artist. I really understand that, but in this particular case, where you're concerned, it has been true for me that the artist and the hero have lived up to the reputation and the impression you'd hope you'd get from them. Because when you walked away from music to help get Nelson Mandela out of jail, and I get emotional just thinking about that, that was one of the most pivotal moments for young people who were joining Amnesty International and all these groups. And that was just one of those Hall of Fame moments where not only did you prove to everyone that you were the real deal and you were doing this for all the right reasons, but you were literally trying to change the face of global politics. And I just wanted to ask, first of all, that was just a huge thing for some of us to witness that, and the whole Sun City thing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people. It was what politicized a lot of people. Even like Tom Morello told me that's what got him into politics. A lot of people like that.
But what, for you, just in closing, what did it mean for you, and how did you feel the day you actually saw Mandela walk out of prison?
That was one of the 2 biggest moments of my life in terms of moments you thought you'd never see. That and Obama being elected, in the most prejudiced nation in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the 2 events I thought would never happen in my lifetime. It was just thrilling. And knowing that we really did contribute to that, and I'm so glad we did it when we did it, because couldn't do it now. I'm telling you right now, it could not be done now. The world's too crazy now. And I went down to South Africa. We played there, thanks to our record. We were able to play there now. And I was talking to some of my old friends at the ANC, Mandela's old political party, and. It's a good thing we did it when we did it, because what nobody knows, it wasn't in any movie, not yet. They were chopping up drugs and putting them in his food the last year or so to try and fry his brains, because they anticipated going to have to let him out we want to try and make him as docile and hopefully blank, So if that had gone on much longer, he wouldn't have had the enough coherence to make that transition so smooth. I mean, they were committing suicide. They were stupid because you want him in good shape, because without him, it would not have been a bloodless transition. Are you kidding me? It would have been the bloodiest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Have you seen that 16th Man documentary that they did, the 30 by 30, on what it was like to get him out and how he tried to unite the country through rugby? And the steps he took and how he embraced people who tried to kill him. And these people are interviewed and they talk about how I made a conscious effort to kill this man and his family, and he embraced me with open. You get chills thinking about it. He invited me down, and it's almost like a biblical contact.
Let me tell you something. I met him, and it was that vibe. Okay, you always look at these religious movies, and you watch them since we're kids, huh? It had that Jesus Christ, John the Baptist, whatever,
Wow.
Moses. You know what I mean? That vibe you kind of catch in the movies. He had that. It was like a glow. It was like a force field, man. I've never met anybody like that in my life. But it had that religious intensity anyway. But thank God, he was around to make that transition, because he's the only one who could have done it.
Yeah.
Nobody else was even close. And it would have been, forget it. Goodbye, white guys,
That's right.
It would have been a slaughter.
Well, we have a lot of love for you for what you've done, obviously, not just musically, but politically, and it means a lot to a lot of us. I'm sure you hear it, but we have just a tremendous amount of respect for you and what you're about, and I'm really impressed with your program and everything you've done. And if there's anything we can do for you, we owe you a mafia debt over at Brigade-Radio-One, and anything we can do for the Steven Van Zandt.
Spread the word.
We will spread the word.
Consider it spread.
Teachrock.org. That's all you got to remember.
Teachrock.org.
You better subscribe to this channel before you look uncool.